What if I told you that some of the most controversial American films ever made weren't big Hollywood blockbusters, but low-budget, independent exploitation movies that pushed the limits of what audiences could handle? These films were protested, censored, seized by police, and even banned outright in certain states and countries. They challenged morality, attacked social norms, and exposed uncomfortable truths about American culture. Tonight, we're diving into 10 exploitation films from the 1960s that continued to shock audiences well into the 1990s through re-releases and controversy. Movies so bold that they changed censorship history forever. 1. Faster Pussycat. Kill. Kill. 1965, directed by Russ Meyer. This film shocked audiences with its aggressive female leads and overt sexuality. While not universally banned in the US, it was censored in multiple regions and faced restrictions internationally. At a time when women were rarely portrayed as dominant antiheroes, the film flipped gender norms. Critics called it immoral and exploitative, while supporters later praised its feminist undertones. Interestingly, it was a box office disappointment at first. It wasn't until decades later, especially during 1990s revival screenings, that critics reevaluated it as a bold cult classic challenging traditional morality. 2. The Wild Angels, 1966, starring Peter Fonda. This outlaw biker drama alarmed conservative audiences during a time of rising counterculture movements. The film was censored in parts of Europe and restricted in some American cities due to its anti-establishment tone and portrayal of rebellion. In the context of the 1960s youth revolution, it felt less like entertainment and more like a challenge to authority. Behind the scenes, the production leaned heavily into realism, using authentic biker aesthetics. Critics feared it glorified chaos, but historically, it helped usher in a wave of independent counterculture cinema. 3. The Trip, 1967, written by Jack Nicholson and directed by Roger Corman. This psychedelic drama captured the era's fascination with altered consciousness. The film faced censorship and limited screenings because it was perceived as promoting drug culture. During the height of the anti-drug political climate, authorities viewed it as socially dangerous. Culturally, it reflected 1960s experimentation and rebellion. Corman defended it as observational rather than promotional. Still, the controversy ensured its reputation as one of the boldest cinematic reflections of its time. 4. Titicut Follies, 1967. Unlike the others, this was a documentary directed by Frederick Wiseman. It exposed conditions inside a Massachusetts psychiatric institution. The film was banned for decades in the United States, not because of violence, but due to legal concerns over patient privacy and dignity. Courts ruled it could not be publicly screened. Its censorship sparked debates about freedom of speech versus ethical responsibility. The controversy turned it into a landmark case in documentary filmmaking and First Amendment discussions. 5. Mondo Hollywood, 1967. Part of the Mondo shock documentary trend, this film blurred lines between reality and stage spectacle. Authorities criticized it for indecency and misleading content. During the late 1960s, mainstream audiences weren't prepared for cinema verite blended with sensationalism. Some regions restricted screenings over moral concerns. The filmmakers intentionally cultivated controversy as marketing. While critics dismissed it, historians now view it as a reflection of America's fascination with celebrity culture and social extremes. 6. The Ghastly Ones, 1968. Another film by Herschell Gordon Lewis, this horror entry was famously labeled too ghastly by censors in the UK. leading to its ban. The timing was critical. Global censorship boards were tightening standards just before the introduction of the MPAA rating system in America. Lewis leaned into controversy for publicity, often exaggerating the film's intensity in advertising. That strategy worked, turning outrage into ticket sales and cementing his reputation as exploitation's master marketer. 7. 2000 Maniacs, 1964. Also directed by Herschell Lewis, this film blended horror with dark satire tied to Civil War themes. Some regions objected to its provocative historical framing. Though not widely banned nationwide, it faced local censorship and international cuts. Its combination of regional stereotypes and exaggerated horror drew criticism. Behind the scenes, the film was shot quickly with a small budget, relying on carnival-style marketing. Today, it's studied as a controversial reflection of post-war Southern identity in cinema. 8. Color Me Blood Red, 1965. The final installment of Lewis's unofficial Blood trilogy. This film faced censorship similar to its predecessors. Released during a time when mainstream horror was still largely restrained, its confrontational style shocked audiences. Some theaters refused to screen it altogether. Despite limited distribution, it gained cult status in the 1990s home video boom, where exploitation cinema found new life among collectors and film historians. 9. The Gruesome Twosome, 1967. This film became notorious enough to be banned in parts of Europe and later listed among controversial video nasties discussions in the UK during the 1980s. Its campy, yet shocking tone divided critics. Some dismissed it as tasteless, while others saw it as dark satire. Interestingly, decades later, it was restored and screened at film festivals, proving how time can transform once-banned material into historical curiosity. 10. Blood Feast, 1963. Directed by Herschell Lewis, this low-budget horror film is often called the first true splatter movie. Upon release, it faced bans in several local U.S. jurisdictions and was heavily censored overseas. Authorities argued that its shocking special effects crossed moral boundaries. In the early 1960s, audiences were used to suggestion, not graphic realism. The film broke that unspoken rule, marketing itself aggressively with sensational taglines. Behind the scenes, Lewis worked with almost no budget, using practical tricks to create effects that looked disturbingly real for the era. Though controversial, it became a cult hit and laid the groundwork for modern horror's commercial formula. These films weren't just shocking for their content. They challenged censorship laws, sparked debates about artistic freedom, and forced America to confront changing cultural values. Today, many of them are preserved in film archives and studied in universities, proving that controversy often shapes cinema history. Which of these films surprised you the most? Do you think censorship protected audiences or restricted artistic freedom? Let me know in the comments below. And if you love deep dives into Hollywood's most controversial stories, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next shocking chapter in film history.